Hello, my name is Tico Solis, and I'm here to discuss my Journal 2, which I will be hitting on four major points. One being setting, the setting I have been some of the settings I have been working in my internship. Second point, preparation. Third would be feedback, and the fourth will be self-evaluation. Um, this is my first week into my internship. My internship is in Helen Keller National Center in New York, specifically Long Island in Sands Point, New York. Some of the settings we've been working on, there's several that vary here at Helen Keller, but primarily it's more of a meeting type base, whether it be one-on-one or group based. So, for example, sometimes in the mornings we have group meetings where some of the professors here, or instructors, I could say, instructors and teachers, get together and we discuss like a student's development plan, program development plan, and things of that nature. Um, some of the consumers are deaf, some are deaf blind, and many are hearing as well. So there's a variety that goes into those types of meetings. So, for example, some professors here or instructors are deaf, and so they don't want to, or they don't interpret. So we step in and interpret for a deaf blind student, and that linguistic setting might be something like tactile versus regular interpreting for a person who's deaf. Um, and whether that setting be independent living or communications learning, sometimes it's mobility. So there's a variety of different settings in which we might be standing for one occasion, we might be moving, we might be sitting down next to a deafblind consumer, doing tactile interpreting of that sort. And the topics vary. Like I said, in independent living, sometimes they discuss things like cooking, cleaning. Other times they discuss things like preparation, home shopping, how to build a list, how to save money, how to apply for coupons, and of that nature. So settings vary here at Helen Keller, and so does the topic. It really just depends on what that student is working on in that week, where they are in their development plan, how far they've come, whether they're new or they're about to complete. Sometimes they're very close to leaving and they discuss independent living on their own in an apartment complex outside of the center. And the linguistics vary as well. Sometimes it's not so serious. Sometimes it's very serious. Sometimes there's sometimes we discuss things like money, things like planning. So everything varies in that nature. Moving on, I'll discuss preparation. Preparation is we really work one-on-one with the interpreter mentor of the day. So here at Helen Keller, there are, I had to think about that, 5 hearing interpreters and 1 deaf interpreter. So we've gotten an opportunity to work with all of them, but they're all switching all the time. So on some days, you'll see some of them. On other days, you'll see others. At all times, there's Kathy, who's the deaf interpreter. So we usually get together with our interpreter mentor of the day and discuss what their day looks like, what type of meetings we'll be hitting, what type of meetings we'll be approaching, discussing, and we go from there. Whether it is, today we'll be working with set student for mobility, and this is kind of like what we're going to do, or they're pretty advanced, so this is what we're going to tackle today. We're going to do this, and we discuss evaluations and stuff like that. Moving on to feedback. Sometimes you get good feedback. Well, it's always constructive feedback, really good feedback. I can't say there's been negative feedback. I think it's always been very constructive, very positive, but very approachable. The mentors themselves, the interpreters themselves have been very approachable, always giving us really, really good feedback. For example, when it comes to interpreting and tactile, I was struggling in the sense of where I would use my space and how I would place my hands, and they discussed with me like seating arrangement, preference between that consumer, a couple different things to how approach that situation a little bit differently. We've also discussed vocabulary. Some of the vocabulary we've discussed is completely different, something we haven't learned before in the past, but we're learning. We've also done a couple town hall meetings here, and they discuss things. For example, one big town hall meeting was on shopping and how to get the best deal and how to prepare before you even go to the grocery store and stuff like that. And there was certain terminology that we never knew, and thankfully, interpreters are always there to feed, to help us. And but at the very end of each event or each meeting or each assignment, we always get a list where the interpreter mentor wrote down their best feedback that they could give us, and it's always been very helpful, very knowledgeable, and very constructive. Up until now, it's been very positive. I cannot complain at all. And moving on to self-evaluation, where are my strengths? My strengths personally lie in hitting the main points. So up until now, they tell me, I'm doing pretty good at finishing complete sentences in ASL, and hitting all the main points with concise clarity. Where can I improve is my voicing. I'm still struggling with voicing. Sometimes I get lost in translation. Sometimes I start too early to interpret when I could just use my lag time and get enough information before I start. Obviously, I'm working on this, but that is one of my weaknesses and one of the areas that I am improving on. And so far, what have I done to achieve those goals? I write them down, and I apply some of the feedback that they have given me and keep that behind me. So on my next interpretation, what I do, or my next assignment, what I do is focus on one goal at a time. So earlier I discussed about positioning when it comes to tactile with a deafblind consumer. So I remember when I first got that feedback, they also gave me some other feedback, but I focused on that one point, and now it's become almost smoother, second nature. And so what I do is I set up one goal per assignment, and I work on that, focus on that until it becomes second nature, and I can just proceed from there. I can't complain. I'm really enjoying my time here at Helen Keller, and I look forward to learn more and leave here a much better interpreter than when I arrived. Thank you.